The chamber was silent. Rows of alien leaders sat in the vast amphitheater of the Galactic Concordance, their eyes fixed on a single glowing image floating in the center of the hall. The hologram showed a small blue planet spinning slowly in the dark. Earth. No one spoke. Even the most arrogant species, the ones who had ruled empires for millennia, lowered their voices when that world appeared. Finally, the elder of the Valari, one of the galaxy's oldest races, stood. His voice was thin, but it carried across the chamber like a blade of ice. "Stay away from Earth," he said. "Stay away from humanity." Murmurs broke the silence. The younger races shifted in their seats, some laughing, others sneering. A reptilian noble from the Tzar Dominion hissed loudly, "Are we children to fear a death world?" He mocked, "It is nothing but rock, water, and apes. How can primitives frighten the galaxy's oldest races?" But the Valari elder did not smile. His black eyes burned with memory. "You ask why we avoid them? Because we once tried to conquer them." The chamber fell quiet again. He gestured, and the hologram changed. Stars exploded into view. Ancient battle footage, grainy but terrifying, filled the chamber. Alien fleets, larger than moons, firing endless waves of plasma into Earth's orbit. But something was wrong. The alien ships burned. One by one, they fell into silence. Metal skeletons drifted in space, consumed by fire, and through the chaos, a new fleet emerged, human warships, black and jagged, their weapons glowing like stars about to die. They were not supposed to have ships, the elder whispered. They were not supposed to fight back. And yet, the council stared as the hologram showed humans, armored soldiers, standing on alien wreckage. Their faces were calm, not fearful. They looked like predators who had finally been challenged. A younger alien from the core empire slammed his clawed hand against the table. "Lies, fabrications. If humanity were so powerful, we would have seen them in every war since." The elder turned toward him, voice trembling with anger. "You are alive only because they chose silence." The chamber erupted in argument. Some shouted that humanity must be weak, hiding on their tiny world. Others whispered that perhaps Earth was more dangerous than anyone knew, and then it happened. The hologram flickered. A static buzz echoed through the chamber. At first, the council thought it was interference. But then the static shaped itself into words, a human voice, deep, calm, cold. "Your council debates our silence." The voice said, "You wonder why the oldest races dare not approach Earth." Every alien froze. None of their systems were connected to Earth. No human was supposed to have access to their chamber. Yet the voice echoed as if the speaker stood among them. "We stayed silent," the voice continued, "because you were not ready to hear the truth." The hologram shifted again. Earth vanished. In its place appeared a shadow, vast and formless, moving across the stars. A fleet, no more than a fleet. An armada of enormous ships. Black silhouettes against the void. The council chamber shook with whispers and gasps. One alien trembled, pointing at the display. That cannot be real." But the Valari elder closed his eyes. He had seen it before. "Real," he whispered. "All too real." The human voice returned, colder than before. "Earth is not unguarded. Humanity has never been alone. And if you step too close," the voice paused, letting the silence dig into their bones, "you will see what we truly keep hidden." The hologram collapsed into static, leaving only darkness. The council chamber was still. Leaders who once boasted of conquering galaxies now stared at one another in fear. The Valari elder spoke once more, voice breaking like old stone. "You wanted the truth," he said. "Now you must decide, do you leave Earth in peace, or do you wake the storm?" The chamber lights dimmed, and every alien leader turned toward the holographic shadow of the fleet. None spoke. None dared. And in the silence, something moved at the edge of the hologram, a human figure. Standing tall, armored in black, staring directly at the council. The projection froze. The image cut to black, but the final words echoed in every mind. "We are humanity." and we are watching." The council chamber remained heavy with silence long after the human voice vanished. No alien dared to speak first. Even the arrogant Cerebral sat frozen, his eyes fixed on the empty hologram. But outside the chamber, across the galaxy, the whispers had already begun. In the taverns of the merchant worlds, smugglers told stories of ships that never returned from Earth's sector. Traders who passed too close to souls spoke of seeing shadows in the void. Warships larger than mountains that disappeared as quickly as they came. Some swore they had seen human patrols, sleek and silent, watching from the darkness. The Ilari, a race of scholars, kept forbidden archives, battle logs from long ago. They rarely spoke of them, but when asked about Earth, their faces always turned pale. The records showed a war once fought, but never finished. A war that humanity had won. By not fighting to the end, in one quiet corner of the galaxy, an old Ilari teacher whispered to his students, "Humanity does not conquer. Humanity does not boast. They wait. And when their enemies strike back so hard the stars remember." Back in the council chamber, tension rose. The core delegate, scales glimmering under the chamber lights, leaned forward. "These are tricks," he said. "Illusions. If Earth had such power, they would already control us all, would they?" The Valari elder replied. His voice was calm, but filled with weight. "Tell me, Core, if you had the power to destroy every empire in this chamber, would you? Or would you wait and let them destroy themselves first?" The Core's words died in his throat. He had no answer. The council's youngest members, races barely old enough to explore the stars, looked at one another nervously. For them, humanity was not legend. Humanity was rumor, a myth told in hushed voices. And myths, they knew, often had roots in truth. Suddenly, the chamber lights flickered. The holographic table pulsed with static. A projection appeared again, not from their own systems, but forced into their network. This time it was not a fleet, or a planet. It was a battlefield. The hologram showed burning skies, alien warships shattered in orbit, vast cities reduced to ash, and then human soldiers marching through the ruins, armor black as night, faces hidden, weapons glowing. Their movements were precise, ruthless, unstoppable. Gasps filled the chamber. The projection shifted, showing close-ups of human faces beneath their helmets. Young, calm, cold. Their eyes did not shine with victory. They shone with something else: resolve. One alien whispered, barely audible, "They look at war the way we look at breathing." The Valari elder's hand trembled as he reached toward the hologram. "These are fragments. Memories from when we tried to break Earth. We thought them weak. We thought them alone." The image shifted again. Human ships flying in formation, engines glowing like suns, cutting through fleets 10 times their size. Silence fell once more. Then the hologram froze. The battlefield dissolved into static, and a single phrase burned across the air in glowing white letters: "We never attack first." The words pulsed, each letter glowing brighter until it seared into the minds of every leader present. "Who controls this chamber?" The core delegate shouted, fear breaking through his arrogance. "Shut it down." But the systems refused to obey. The lights dimmed. The hologram went dark, and then another message: "But if you come for Earth." The chamber shuddered. Energy surged through the walls, sparks flashing. Every alien felt it, as if the voice spoke not to their ears, but into their bones. "You will never rise again." The projection collapsed. The council chamber fell into pitch darkness. For a long moment, no one moved. When the lights returned, the alien leaders looked pale, shaken. Some avoided each other's eyes. Others clenched their fists, too proud to admit their fear, but all of them felt the same truth. This was not a bluff. Humanity had spoken. At the edge of the chamber, a small, flickering screen remained active. An encrypted signal pulsed coordinates. The Valari elder leaned forward, eyes wide. He recognized the pattern. It pointed to a place near Jupiter. He whispered the words none wanted to hear. "They're not just hiding on Earth." The council froze. For the first time in centuries, Every alien leader in the galaxy felt the same chill, because if the coordinates were true, then humanity had not only survived, they had been waiting. The coordinates from Jupiter spread across the chamber like fire. Some council members dismissed them as human tricks. Others demanded an immediate investigation. The Valari Elder, however, remained silent. His expression was heavy, as if he already knew what would be found. Within hours, the most curious species dispatched probes. Drones slipped through hyperspace and entered the Sol system. They expected silence, emptiness, at worst, another human bluff. But when the probes neared Jupiter, something impossible appeared. At first it looked like empty space. The probes saw nothing but the planet's swirling storms and rings of ice. Yet as they drew closer, shadows stretched across their sensors. Shapes, vast and unmoving. One by one, the shadows lit up. Massive hulls emerged from cloaking fields, human warships, their surfaces jagged, their weapons glowing faintly with hidden fire. The fleet was silent, motionless, waiting. Dozens, then hundreds, each larger than the Council had imagined. The probes tried to retreat, but it was already too late. A single human ship powered its cannons, not to fire, but to send a message. Energy surged into space, overwhelming every alien sensor. The Council chamber, light years away, trembled as the signal forced itself into their systems. And then, on the chamber floor, a new hologram flickered to life. It was not battle footage. It was not rumor. It was a man. A human stood before them, life-sized, projected in chilling detail. He wore black armor lined with silver. His face was unmasked, his eyes sharp and unflinching. Unlike the aliens, he showed no fear of being seen. For a long moment, he said nothing. The silence cut deeper than words. Finally, the human spoke. His voice was calm, but it carried the weight of steel. "You wanted to know why the galaxy's oldest race avoids Earth," he said. "You wanted to know why your fleets vanish near our borders?" The alien leaders leaned forward, their faces pale, their bodies trembling. The human continued, "We are not your enemy. We do not seek conquest. But remember this, we were forged on a world you would call a death sentence. Our storms kill, our seas swallow, our lands burn and freeze, and still, we thrived." The Valari Elder closed his eyes. The words were familiar. He had heard them before, long ago, on the battlefield. The human's expression hardened. "We did not build our fleets to rule. We built them because one day, someone like you would try to break us again." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The core delegate hissed. "Empty words. If you are strong, show us proof. Reveal your fleet to the galaxy." The human turned his gaze directly on the core. His eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the holographic light. "You want proof?" He lifted one hand. The hologram shifted. Now the Council saw the fleet near Jupiter in full clarity, row after row of warships, colossal in size, stretching further than the eye could follow. Their hulls bore markings the aliens did not recognize, their weapons pulsing with energy beyond their understanding. The chamber fell into silence again. No one laughed now. But then the human did something none expected. He smiled. "This," he said, "is only our first line." A shockwave rippled through the Council. First line. The aliens could barely process the fleet before them. If this was only the beginning, how much more was hidden? The Valari Elder's voice trembled. You never stopped building." The human's gaze swept across the chamber, his voice low and cold. "We never stopped preparing." And then the hologram flickered. Static surged. For a heartbeat, the image dissolved. But in that flicker, the Council saw something else. A shadow far larger than the Jupiter fleet. Something hidden deeper, darker, more terrifying. Before anyone could question it, the hologram cut to black. The chamber lights returned. The Council sat frozen, their minds racing, their hearts pounding. One young alien whispered, "If this is their first line, what is their last?" The Valari Elder's voice was barely a whisper. Pray you never see it. The council chamber buzzed with voices, but none of them carried confidence anymore. The human hologram had vanished, leaving behind silence heavier than war. Every delegate had seen it, the fleet near Jupiter, larger than anything their species had ever constructed. But the words echoed louder than the image. This is only our first line. If that was true, then what else was waiting in the shadows? The core delegate tried to regain control, slamming his clawed hand against the table. They are bluffing. The humans trick our sensors, show us illusions. There is no second line, no armada. They cannot hide such power. But the Valari elder shook his head. His face, carved by centuries of memory, was pale. They can. They have. Before the core could answer, the chamber lights dimmed again. The delegates froze, afraid of another intrusion. But this time, projection was not forced upon them. It came from their own fleet commanders across the galaxy. Probes and patrol ships sent emergency signals to the council. Images and footage streamed into the chamber. And what the aliens saw made their blood run cold. Not just near Jupiter. Not only in Sol, human fleets were being sighted everywhere. Massive warships lurking near asteroid belts, camouflaged within debris. Colossal carriers hidden inside gas clouds. Entire fleets anchored in the shadows of black holes. Invisible until they chose to reveal themselves. One image showed a fleet hidden within Saturn's rings. Their dark hulls perfectly aligned with the stones of ice and rock. Another showed human battle stations buried beneath the frozen surface of Pluto, glowing faintly with hidden energy. And then came the worst report, from the far edges of the Orion Arm. An alien patrol had stumbled across something vast. At first, they believed it to be a dead moon, but when they drew closer, the moon came alive. Panels unfolded, engines roared, weapons powered. It wasn't a moon. It was a fortress ship, the size of a planet. The chamber erupted in chaos. Leaders shouted, others wept. Some demanded immediate retreat from human space. The younger races trembled, their faces pale. But the Valari elder raised his hand. His voice cut through the noise like a blade. This is the truth we feared. Humanity never stopped building. While we fought each other for power, they prepared. They waited. The holograms shifted again, this time controlled by the humans. The chamber filled with a new projection. A grand formation of fleets. Thousands of ships, aligned with terrifying precision. Every hull bore the same symbol, a star burning inside a circle. Humanity's mark. A voice spoke once more. Calm, measured, cold. You believed Earth was unguarded, the human said. You believed silence meant weakness. But silence was our shield. While you laughed, we forged our armada. While you fought each other, we built our doctrine. The hologram zoomed closer, showing human soldiers aboard the ships. Their armor gleamed black and silver, their eyes sharp, their movements disciplined. Rows upon rows, standing in silence, waiting for orders. Understand this, the human voice continued. This is not a war fleet. This is a defense, a promise. We do not seek your worlds. We do not seek your empires. But if you strike at us, if you set foot on Earth, the projection shifted again. The fleets ignited their weapons, beams of light cutting across the void, brighter than suns. The chamber shuddered under the force of the image. We will erase you. The hologram collapsed into black. For a moment, no one breathed. Finally, the Ilari scholar whispered, "This is no bluff. They have been planning for centuries, watching, waiting." The core delegate's scales dulled with fear. If what we saw is real, then humanity's fleet is larger than the combined strength of every empire in this chamber, and more hidden still. The Valari elder said, his voice grim. We saw only what they allowed us to see. The chamber fell into silence again. Every leader knew the truth. The humans had shown just enough to terrify them, but not enough to reveal their full strength. And then, without warning, the chamber doors hissed open. Every alien turned. Standing there, silhouetted against the light, was a figure no one expected. A human envoy, in flesh and blood, had walked into the heart of the Galactic Council. His armor gleamed. His face was calm. His eyes burned with the same cold fire they had seen in the holograms. The council froze. The human spoke just 3 words. "Now we talk." The council chamber was frozen in silence. Human envoy stood tall in his black and silver armor, his presence alone enough to drown out the noise of 1,000 alien voices. He did not shout. He did not threaten. His calm gaze spoke louder than weapons. The Valari elder, oldest among them all, rose slowly from his seat. His frail body shook, yet his voice carried across the chamber with grim authority. "Enough," the elder said. "This is no debate. This is history, and it is time you know the truth." Every alien turned toward him. Even the human envoy waited, his expression unreadable. The elder closed his eyes. For a long moment, the silence was heavy. Then he began to speak. "Eons ago, when my people were strong, we believed we ruled this galaxy. We were proud, arrogant, blind, and then we found Earth." Gasps rippled across the chamber. "We saw a world of storms and fire, a death world. We saw a species fragile in flesh, but stubborn in spirit. We thought them weak, and so we went to conquer." The elder's voice cracked. His trembling hands clenched into fists. "We came with fleets larger than their skies could hold. We rained fire upon their world. We thought it would end quickly." The chamber's walls flickered as the elder's memories came alive. Holograms filled the air, Valari warships blotting out the sun, plasma storms raining fire across Earth's oceans. Cities burned, mountains shattered. Humanity should have fallen, but they did not. The holograms shifted. Human soldiers rose from the ruins, carrying weapons forged from the very wreckage that destroyed them. They fought with fire in their eyes, with fury in their voices. They struck Valari soldiers in the streets, tearing victory from certain defeat. "They fought like no species we had ever seen," the elder whispered. "Where one human fell, 10 more rose. Where we thought we had one, we found only the beginning." The images grew darker. Alien fleets burning in orbit. Valari soldiers fleeing, hunted through ruined cities, and behind every battle, the same human faces, young, scarred, unbroken. The elder's voice trembled. "We lost more ships in 1 human year than in all other wars combined. We could not break them. We could not even understand them. And then they revealed their weapon." The chamber leaned forward. Every delegate holding their breath. The hologram shifted again. This time, it was not soldiers, not fleets. It was something greater, a colossal engine in space, glowing with power that dwarfed suns. Human scientists stood before it, their faces lit by burning light. The machine pulsed once, and an entire Valari armada vanished. Not destroyed, erased, as if it had never existed. The chamber erupted in horror. "Impossible," shouted the Quad delegate. "No weapon can erase ships from existence." But the elder's eyes were filled with memory. I saw it with my own eyes. A weapon that bends the fabric of stars. A weapon that chooses which fleets will be remembered, and which will vanish forever. The human envoy's gaze shifted slightly, but he did not deny it. His silence was answer enough. The Ilari scholar whispered, "A weapon that can erase history itself." The Valari elder nodded. We surrendered. Not because we were beaten in battle, but because we knew they could erase us from time itself. Humanity spared us. They told us one thing: we never attack first. But if you come again, we will finish what we began. The hologram faded. The chamber was silent. No alien dared to speak. The core delegate trembled, his arrogance shattered. You mean they still have it? That weapon?" The Valari elder turned toward the human envoy. His voice was low, heavy with dread. "Tell us, do you still keep the weapon?" All eyes turned to the envoy. The air was thick, suffocating with fear. The human raised his head, his calm gaze sweeping across the chamber, and then, for the first time, a faint smile touched his lips. He spoke only 5 words. We never gave it up. The chamber erupted in panic. Some shouted for war, others screamed for retreat. Fear rippled like fire, but before order could return, the chamber lights dimmed once again. A new hologram appeared, larger than before. Not from the humans. Not from the Council. It was a signal from deep space. An alien. Fleet was moving toward Earth. The chamber lights flickered. As the warning signal spread across the galaxies, network, an alien fleet, enormous and arrogant, was moving toward Earth. The news struck the Council like a hammer. Some leaders shouted in fear, others demanded an immediate retreat order. But it was too late. The fleet was already in motion. The human envoy did not panic. He stood calmly, hands folded behind his back, eyes cold as steel. "Fools," whispered the Valari elder. "You are about to wake the storm." The core delegate, desperate to save face, shouted across the chamber. "See, humanity is bluffing. If they truly had such weapons, they would have destroyed us long ago. Let this invasion prove the truth." The human envoy turned to face him. His voice was steady, quiet, but each word carried like thunder. "You mistake patience for weakness. That is your first mistake." The envoy stepped forward, his armored boots echoing on the floor. Every alien in the chamber leaned back as if the weight of his presence pressed against them. "You ask why humanity has not spread its fleets across the stars. Why we did not strike after you burned our cities. Why we let you live." The hologram ignited once more. Images filled the chamber, burning Earth cities, alien fleets shattered, soldiers fighting in mud and ash. But this time, the projection did not show destruction. It showed discipline. Human soldiers lined up in perfect ranks, even as fire rained around them. Human fleets forming tight formations, retreating only when ordered, never breaking. The envoy's voice deepened. "Our doctrine is simple. We never attack first. We never strike without cause. We wait, we watch. And when we are attacked," the hologram shifted again. This time it showed alien fleets, mighty armadas of countless ships burning under human fire. Railguns fired slugs the size of cities. Plasma beams carved through dreadnoughts like paper. "We end wars so completely they can never begin again." The chamber shook with the weight of his words. Some aliens gasped, others whispered prayers in fear. The Ilari scholar leaned forward, her voice trembling. "So that is why. Why no empire dares to return to Earth. Because those who tried no longer exist." The envoy nodded slowly. "You call us Deathworlders. You are right. We were born in fire, shaped by storms, tested by ice and famine. Our world made us ruthless, but it also gave us something greater: unity. You fight endless wars for power. We fight only when we must. And when we do..." The hologram blazed with one final image. An entire alien empire reduced to silence, its stars dark, its fleets erased. "We do not stop until there is nothing left to threaten us." The chamber was silent again. No one dared to breathe. The core delegate tried to rise, but his voice cracked with fear. You are monsters." The envoy's gaze turned to him, sharp as a blade. "No, we are survivors." But then, before the Council could react, another alarm blared. The alien fleet moving toward Earth had crossed into Sol. Their ships outnumbered anything humanity could show. The invaders were confident, mocking, eager to crush the myth once and for all. The Council's great display lit up with live footage. Alien dreadnoughts closing on Earth, their weapons charged, their formation tight, and then something stirred. The dark side of the moon glowed faintly. Panels unfolded. Weapons activated. Dozens of human warships rose silently, black holes shining with deadly light. The invading aliens laughed. They believed this small defense would fall easily. But the laughter stopped when the Earth itself began to change. Orbital stations uncloaked across the planet. Energy shields lit the skies. Thousands of hidden cannons powered on. and from beneath Earth's oceans, massive submarines broke the surface, not to fire missiles, but to rise into the sky and transform into warships. The council gasped. The Valari elder bowed his head. They kept the world itself as a fortress. The envoy's voice returned, cold as the void. This is our doctrine. We do not conquer. We do not invade. But if you bring war to our home? On the council's display, Earth's fleet surged forward, weapons blazing. Alien dreadnoughts shattered like glass. Railgun slugs ripped through their cores. Plasma cannons burned holes in their formations. Then we will show you why every empire fears humanity. The chamber shook with the roar of the battle's opening volleys. Sparks of destruction lit Sol like a second sun, and just as the invaders began to falter, the feed flickered. A shadow appeared behind the Earth fleet. Something larger, something unimaginable. The projection froze before its full shape was revealed. The envoy's eyes glowed faintly in the dim chamber light. His final words echoed like a sentence. You have not yet seen our flagship. The alien fleet descended on Earth with fury. Thousands of ships, dreadnoughts the size of continents, filled the void. Their commanders shouted in triumph, convinced that humanity's defenses would break under sheer numbers. At first, it looked possible. Earth's hidden fleet rose from the moon, oceans, and orbital stations, but the invaders still outnumbered them 10-1. Alien plasma storms lit the skies. Whole human squadrons vanished in fire. The council chamber trembled as the live feed streamed across the galaxy. Millions of eyes watched in horror and awe. Some alien leaders prayed for humanity to fall. Others prayed for them to win, for they knew if Earth broke, nothing else would survive. The human envoy stood silent, his arms crossed, eyes fixed on the display. He did not flinch at the destruction. The Valari elder whispered, voice filled with dread. This is only the beginning. They are testing the waters. The battle raged on. Human railguns thundered, each shot tearing through alien shields. Plasma lances fired from Earth's hidden platforms, carving entire cruisers in half. Still, the invaders pushed forward. Their sheer numbers pressed the human defenses back toward Earth itself. Alien cheers erupted across the chamber. They are falling, shouted the core delegate, scales glittering with cruel satisfaction. The myth dies today, but his words froze in his throat when the display shifted. The stars behind Earth twisted. Space itself rippled, bending as if a black hole had opened. From the distortion, a shape emerged. At first, it seemed like a mountain, then larger. Vast panels unfolded, glowing with blue energy. Weapons bristled across its surface, each the size of an alien capital ship. The chamber gasped as the truth became clear. It was not a station, not a moon. It was Earth's flagship. The human envoy's voice cut through the silence like a blade. You wanted proof? You wanted to see the heart of our fleet. The flagship moved into the light, its sheer mass dwarfing everything around it. Alien dreadnoughts looked like insects against its hull. Its name burned across its side in bold letters. The Resolute. The invaders hesitated. Their commanders barked orders, but fear rippled through their formations. They had never seen anything so vast, so prepared, so impossibly real. The Resolute's weapons came alive. Railguns charged, glowing white-hot. Cannons unfolded from hidden bays. The flagship's main weapon, a colossal spinal cannon, pulsed with energy brighter than a sun. The first shot fired it. It tore through space like a spear of light, ripping an alien battleship in half. Shockwaves rolled across the battlefield, scattering fleets like leaves in a storm. The chamber shook as the image lit up the council walls. Alien delegates covered their faces in disbelief. The core delegate trembled, his arrogance shattered. But the flagship was not finished. Hundreds of drones launched from its flanks, each one armed with weapons powerful enough to destroy a cruiser. They swarmed through the alien fleet, tearing ships apart in coordinated silence, and still, the Resolute advance. The Valari elder's voice was heavy with memory. This is why we never returned to Earth. The battle turned. Human fleets surged forward behind their flagship, formations tight, weapons precise. Alien dreadnoughts that had mocked Earth minutes before now fled, scattering in chaos. The invaders tried to retreat, but the Resolute's weapons tracked them, one by one, cutting escape routes, annihilating stragglers. In the council chamber, the silence was unbearable. Every alien leader understood this was not an ordinary war. This was judgment. The human envoy spoke again, his words calm and final. Humanity does not ask for war, but when you bring it to our door, we do not forgive. We do not forget. The council watched as the alien fleet collapsed, their commanders screaming into static, just when it seemed over. The chamber feed zoomed out, behind the Resolute shadows moved. More shapes emerged. Dozens of titanic silhouettes, each as massive as the flagship. The envoy's voice turned cold. You have seen one, but Earth does not stand alone. This is our Deathworld Fleet. The chamber exploded in chaos. Some leaders shouted, others wept, a few collapsed in despair. The Valari elder closed his eyes, whispering the legends were true. And then the feed flickered again. Not human ships. Not Earth's, something else. A new signal, distant, but powerful. Another alien empire, larger, older, hungrier, was watching. And now they were moving. The final revelation, the chamber was in chaos. Alien leaders shouted over one another, their voices trembling with fear. The human envoy remained silent, his calm gaze fixed on the holographic feed. The invading fleet had been crushed. Earth still stood, its skies lit with the fire of victory. But now, something worse had appeared. The new signal pulsed across the chamber's systems, a fleet larger than anything seen before. Not human. Not from any empire present in the council. Its ships were colossal, shaped like twisted spires of black metal. Their engines glowing with sickly green light, the Valari elder's face turned pale. His voice broke with dread. The old ones. Whispers spread like fire. Every race had heard of them. An empire so ancient, so ruthless, that even the Valari had avoided speaking their name. They had slumbered for eons, watching, waiting. And now, awakened by humanity's rise, they were coming. The chamber froze as the live feed expanded. The old one's armada stretched across the stars, endless, countless, blotting out light for the first time. The alien council realized something terrifying. The humans were not the only monsters in the dark, but the envoy did not flinch. He raised his hand, and the chamber lights dimmed. You fear them, he said softly. You should. The hologram shifted again. This time, it showed Earth's fleets aligning, every warship taking formation around the Resolute. Soldiers prepared, their faces illuminated by cold blue light. Drones swarmed like fireflies, weapons charged. But know this, the envoy continued. You are not the only ones who have faced them before. The Valari elder gasped, eyes wide. No, you cannot mean, the envoy's voice sharpened. When they came for us, long ago we bled. We burned, we nearly fell. But we learned. The chamber darkened further. Stars vanished. The hologram now showed something vast. Not a fleet, not a station. Something larger, a structure spanning light years. Engines the size of moons. A weapon older than most civilizations. It pulsed once, glowing brighter than a star. This, the envoy said, is why we survived. The council trembled as the hologram revealed it fully. A Dyson fortress, built around a captured star. Humanity had harnessed the very heart of light, turning it into the greatest weapon the galaxy had ever known. This is our doctrine's final truth, the envoy said. You may mock us. You may threaten us. But when you push us to the edge, we do not fight for victory. We fight for survival. And survival means we fight until only humanity remains. The chamber was silent. No one moved. The aliens who once mocked Earth now stared in terror. Realizing the scale of what had been hidden all along, the hologram zoomed closer, showing the Dyson fortress powering up. Its star blazed like a wrathful god, its energy channels glowing like rivers of fire. The envoy's final words cut like thunder. Tell the old ones, tell every empire. If you come for Earth, you do not face our fleets. You face extinction. The chamber lights snapped back on. Alien leaders gasped for breath, their hearts pounding. Some fell to their knees. Others whispered prayers. None dared to speak against the envoy. And then the hologram showed one last image.earth. Small. Blue. Spinning silently in the dark, but around it. The Deathworld Fleet, the Resolute, and the Dyson Fortress burning like a second sun. Humanity's banner, the star inside the circle, glowing brighter than ever. The envoy looked around the chamber, his eyes hard as steel. We are humanity, he said. We are HFY. The chamber shook with silence. No one argued. No one mocked. For the first time in galactic history, every alien empire understood one truth. Earth was untouchable, and in the void beyond as the old ones advanced. The galaxy whispered a new name for humanity. The Guardians of the Final Dawn. The End.